Happy Friday, friends. This week for our subscriptions, we went for some really nice, bright, springy colors because here in Baltimore it is freezing cold and it just does not seem to want to get any warmer. This week we're going to do something a little bit different though. I'm going to work with chicken wire. I also have some tape in the mix because we're going to make something more a little bit centerpiece style. We're using an Orion pot from Accent Decor. We use this a lot for our event work as rentals. Also, you can purchase these at the shop. I'm going to use chicken wire for my mechanics. I'm going to tape it down in a grid so that it stays nice and sturdy, and then we'll use hydrangea as our base. So once again, like we always do, we are going to mash up our chicken wire into a little bit of a tube. We are going to roll it over itself, make a nice little ball. I already have water in my bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that all in so that it is in the bowl. If a couple of pieces are popping up over the top, that's totally okay. If it's all down in there, that is also fine. Just wanna make sure that it is in there well. If you do have a flower frog, a metal or plastic flower frog, these bowls are awesome too because you can stick them down in the bottom and they stay put in this little bottom part in the foot, and then you can stick your stems down into there also, which is great. Now with dry hands, we're gonna use our tape. You can use green tape or you can use the clear tape. I'm gonna use the clear tape because I'm gonna do a grid and then go around. So for my grid, I'm gonna go twice in this direction. You need to make sure that your bowl is dry when you do this also, so that if you wanted to preset this with your chicken wire and your tape ahead of time and then add the water, that also works really well. So you can be sure not to have the edges wet when you're trying to apply the tape, which can be kind of finicky. Going twice in each direction, and then I'm gonna go around the rim. And I'm gonna do this at the top so that it's not down too low. If it's down too low, you're gonna see it sticking out from your flowers. But if it's up too high and it goes over the rim of the container and water gets under it, it will pull off. So you wanna make sure that it is completely on the side of the container and not coming up over the edge of the container. And you wanna make sure that's on nice and tight. All right, we're all set and ready to go. So in this week's bucket, we had some really lovely antique hydrangea. There are 2 of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those in. They might be different sizes, so you just kind of have to work with it. They can be a little bit nubby here, like where the leaves and the buds come off, so you wanna make sure they're nice and clean before you go into your chicken wire. And we are going to aim for the top middle. I'm just aiming to cover. You know what actually I'm gonna take some of these laterals off because they're huge. I'm gonna use the laterals in my arrangement just to cover. You can do that too, by the way. You'll see these here where you have this main stem and then these pieces coming off sort of in radials. These are your lateral stems, and if they're nice and long and they'll reach the water, you can absolutely use those as individual placements. So I'm gonna do that today because this piece is so large. I'm gonna tuck that down in there, kind of squeeze it so it gets in between the little grooves in the chicken wire. Break this guy up. I'm gonna put a larger one to the back. Oops, there we go. And we have one more that's a little bit smaller, so I'm gonna use this as one singular piece instead. This guy's kind of popping up and I don't love it, so let me get him in there a little bit better. Maybe I'll separate that down, make sure it's in the water. Trim this one down, that's in the water, and get this guy that is a single unit stem clean and down into the water. Okay, so now I've kind of covered over that whole thing. If you have more greens, even like some greens outside, you got some Nandina hanging around or some evergreens, you can mix those in with this to make a nice layered look. In the bucket though, today we have some salal or lemon leaf. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in. And because I'm going for sort of a layered look, I'm just gonna go in between and also through the hydrangea to green into the water. Go here. You should have about 5 pieces of this smaller lemon leaf in your bucket. I'll do that all around and fill any holes in between your hydrangea. That's important there too. Get this out of the way, grab my guys are lost. There we go. Need a bigger workspace. Tuck that into the sides so you can't see in. You don't see any of the chicken wire mechanics. And tuck that in like so. And tuck this in over here. All right, so there we go. Now we have a nice sort of base for our arrangement. Next up, we're gonna put some miniature green hydrangea in. These guys are really lovely. We usually include these when we do the antique hydrangea just to give a little bit of dimension in the arrangement, so it's not all one layer of hydrangea in the background. Some of these are gonna have nice leaves. You can leave those on. If they're too big or they're in the background, take them off. Use that as an individual placement, trim it at an angle, and make sure you get those stems nice and clean. I'm gonna let these kind of float a little bit because I'm going for that layered look. Here we go. Trim it, and into our guides or our arrangement like so, adjusting as we go. All right, then we have some really pretty, these are candy expression roses. Very similar to the pink expression roses. No need to really blow and roll these guys. They are gonna open. You can leave any leaves off on that look nice, but you can take the other ones off if they're gonna go down into your arrangement. We've got 3 of these in the bucket today. Now this one's got some nice greenery on it, so I'm gonna leave that on. They can be kind of thorny, so make sure you are trimming all of those thorns off and trimming all of the lumps on the sides off so that if you wanna replace these in your arrangement, you don't rip your chicken wire out. This guy too, trim those off. I'll leave a couple of these leaves on because they're kind of pretty. They go with the slough. Got this, okay. Next, we have some faith roses. We use these this week because they have this awesome lavender color. They are not really garden rose, but they do get a nice big open and they're really nice to reflex. So if you're into reflexing the petals, you can try that. Basically what you do, and I'll show you with my very dirty fingernails, you're gonna start and put your thumb against the back where the petal comes out, and you're just gonna flip the petal over your finger, like so. And now this petal is gonna go in this direction. So I'm gonna do that all the way around. 1, 2, oops, this guy's flipping back up again. Oops, like so, like so, like so. You don't really always know if a rose is gonna be good at reflexing or not until you try it. I know this one, the faith, is always really good. We like to use it that way. Also, quicksand roses reflex really nicely. As well, you can see this is getting like really big looking, kind of like, I don't know, like a ballet tutu or something. You've got all these like layers and all this pretty stuff going on. So you can keep going as much as you want. You can always blow in the center there, get that open a little bit more. And then I'm gonna use this out of my arrangement a little bit because I wanna see all of this awesome layering that I've done here. So I'm gonna go out of my arrangement. A little bit of space, you can see that. Stem is showing, leaving those lovely leaves on. This one also has some really nice leaves. So I'm gonna blow on that one a little, get it rolling, take off any of the packing petals, make sure you get them all the way down to the calyx there, and then you're going to start flipping these petals back. So 1, 2, and really just until you're satisfied. If you don't love this look, you can just do, just blow in the center and give it a little roll to get it open. They will continue to open on their own, but if you're going for a little bit more of a dramatic look and you want to mess with the petals and make them look extra fancy, I would suggest you give this a try with this type of rose because it always looks lovely. I'm gonna tuck that in there and do the same with my last one here. This one, again, taking off the ugly leaves at the bottom, give it a blow. You can give it a roll, get it moving, and then you're going to go ahead and reflex those petals one at a time. It's got a nice little snap to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do like maybe 6 around. So it's all the way around. It's made this lovely little skirt, kinda. You can keep going a little bit if you want. But there, you got that nice texture. We're gonna put it on an angle. I'm gonna tuck this into our arrangement here, kind of going in between, but not all at the same height. Trying to get a little bit of like in and out flow in here. Okay, then we have these Clooney ranunculus, the blush ones. They're so lovely. There's 3 in the bucket. You're just going to take any of the damaged petals off the back. You don't really have to give these a lot of encouragement. They will open on their own. I'm going to tuck one down more in the middle here because I feel like we need something in that center. Beautiful. There it is. This guy over a little bit because he is encroaching on my other rose. And then we're going to do maybe one of these out. Gotta work with the stems here. Sometimes they have these like kind of where the stem turns, or where like a bud or a leaf was going to come out. If you have a perfectly straight stem, that's great. You will find that some of them have, you know, these little pieces coming off here. They can be kind of difficult to work around. So make sure you're trimming them off before you put them into the arrangement, so that, again, you don't get it stuck on your chicken wire. It's easy to replace and remove if you are wanting to adjust your arrangement as you're going, which I like to do as I go too. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this piece off so I don't have to deal with it. Clean cut, take off my damaged petals. I'm gonna come in and get this guy over. Well, I feel like maybe he could come out this way. Actually, let's see what we got. I'm gonna come out this way. I'm gonna do all three of them sort of in one side. Got that layer happening. Tuck that in. Slightly adjusting as we go. We want lots of show, and especially as these ranunculus, these blush Italian ranunculus get really big, they'll take up that space. Look like a big paper flower. We also have these smaller but no less lovely peach or salmon ranunculus. Same dealie with these. You can see they have a lot of these little nodes, knobs thingies on the outside here. So we're going to try to work around them, trim those off so there's nothing to get stuck on your chicken wire. And I'm gonna tuck one in here because I already have this guy in the middle. And bring a little bit of the peach color in the middle, layer that in maybe behind this guy. So we can't forget about what is happening behind our focal blooms. Everything can't face the front. You have to turn some things in different directions. I'll tuck this guy in this way. You have to adjust as you go. Use those cool stems. See the very cool shapes here. Tuck this one in here. Okay, this guy, I don't want him laying, so I'm gonna replace that one a little bit. So that is, nope, I don't like it. It's like hitting the tape and it's driving it off to one side. So instead of that, I'm gonna put it in over here. You know what? Change of plans. Put this guy in over here, put this guy in over here, and call it macaroni. Talking to each other, coming off to one side. And then we have some anemone in the mix as well. This fuchsia color looks really pretty with the lavender color in the faith roses. These are very delicate though, the stems. We've worked with them before, especially using chicken wire and tape. You just need to be careful, be mindful of that, because if you hit something, you try to push past it, it's gonna end up breaking that stem, and we don't want that to happen. So these also have these really cool articulated shapes in their stems. So we're just gonna use them, really layer that in, get a little height out of our anemone. There we go, adjust as we go. We want everything tall on one side, kind of like make it spread out a little bit. Okay, and we have one more. There were 3 of these in your bucket. This has like a very unusual shape, so we're gonna put this in so he's facing out that way. Just, oop. And there we go. Oops, right there. Okay. He's just gonna kind of bobble around and live here. There we go. Pull that up a little bit. I'm not liking how all of these are at the same level, so I'm gonna scoot this guy up a little bit. I'm gonna scoot this guy up a little bit. Out. Keep replacing. Keep moving. There we go. So I want everybody to have their own space. Okay, then we have some seeded eucalyptus in our bucket here. So we are going to add this in around the bottom more so, just to get a little bit of fill and also maybe a little bit of a cascade. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of something, just fill it in between your blooms there. There are 2 or 3 pieces in there. They can be broken into smaller pieces. If the pieces are long enough to hit the water, you can use them deep in your arrangement. Otherwise, you're going to use the full stem here. So you just have to kind of play it by ear, edit it down to what you want. Use those short pieces deep in your arrangement. Here's like a nice piece. We're gonna take this piece off the bottom, tuck that in on the side. So you want to see that as well. There we go. And then any leftover lemon leaf that you have in your bucket that has a nice shape to it, we're gonna put that in and let it hang out a little bit so you can see it in the arrangement. So we have maybe 3 more pieces here, that we can add. I always like to hang on to a little bit of foliage till the end, because you never know where you're going to need a little bit of movement or a little bit of fill. So that is what this is doing here. Again, we want to make sure everybody has, oops, pulled my slow out there, get back in there. Make sure everybody has a space, everybody has a home. The roses, the flowers are nice and layered. You see them in close in the arrangement, you see them coming out of the arrangement. We want a lot of movement. This guy's kind of out there crazy. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit. All right. You don't really want anything to be at the same level. So if two of the flowers are touching each other, push one in, pull one out. Kind of force them to talk to each other instead of hold each other up. And then, there we go. That way everybody has their own space and their own story. Doesn't have to be a supporting or a backup player to anybody else. Okay, there we go. All right, so there. We've got all of our pieces intact, all of our beautiful flowers in place. You're going to want to put your finger in the side over time, past that chicken wire, and make sure that you are filling your vessel up with water. It can be tricky because it has this little bottom part, so it loses water fast. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your flowers hydrated. If you are using a standard vase, same thing. You want to make sure that your flowers are hydrated, and you want to change that water out every few days. I would say probably every other day to keep your flowers lasting as long as they possibly can. All right, thanks so much for designing with us again this Friday. Please drop any questions, comments, suggestions in the comments for us, and we will be sure to answer you. Please like and I guess subscribe for more videos, and we will be posting more content up here as we go. So thanks, and happy weekend.